Good morning, dear hearts. We're on lesson 44. God is the light in which I see. Another continuation of our God is lessons. We have more to come. And this lesson says that it's also a continuation from yesterday, that God is my source and I cannot see apart from him. Well, how do I see? I see in light, and God is the light in which I see. I'm going to go over almost all of this lesson as it is written today, and especially the end of it, which is really all about the practicing. The practicing for this lesson, and again, it doesn't say meditation, it's not a word in it, but it is most certainly meditation. And leading up to the meditation, the practice, and then going through it's just beautiful. And I really think something that, because we'll be doing this type of practicing more and more. So, today we are continuing the idea for yesterday and adding another dimension to it. You cannot see in darkness. None of us can. That's true in this world as it is true in truth. And you cannot make light. We cannot make the light. We can turn a light on, but we're not making that light. And true light is from within us, as we truly have already been told. Lesson 41 has that wonderful phrase that deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the world. That is our light. That is the light that is waiting within us, because that's where it is. That's where it has been placed by God, ready to ignite and come out, that we all may be aware of it. You can make darkness, coming back to the lesson, you cannot make light, but you can make darkness, and then think you see in it. But light reflects life, and light attracts light is one of the ways I say it as well, and life attracts life, and is therefore an aspect of creation. That light is an aspect of creation. Creation and darkness can never coexist, but light and life must go together, being different parts of creation, all from God. Now, in order to see, you must recognize that the light is within, not without, which is back to that beautiful line from lesson 41. Deep within you is everything ready to radiate outward. You do not see outside yourself, nor is the equipment what is needed for seeing outside of us. All of the light, again, it is within. An essential part of this, it says equipment, so what is needed, essential part of what is needed is the light that makes seeing possible, and again, from within. It is with you always, making vision possible in every circumstance. So there is no place that we could ever be where we would not be able to have the ability to see truly, to have vision. Now it starts that today we're going to attempt to reach that light. For this purpose, we will use a form of exercise which has been suggested before. We've already used it, of going within, and it will be used more and more throughout our practicing this year. It's particularly difficult form for the undisciplined mind and represents a major goal of mind training. Those without an untrained mind cannot meditate. To meditate is to be able to get quiet in our mind. With an untrained mind is all over the place, and it cannot get to that space of being quiet enough to truly allow other thoughts in, and then to go into the space where indeed there is no thought. It requires precisely what the untrained mind lacks, yet this training must be accomplished if you are to see. We must learn to quiet our mind. We must learn to be able to hear God's voice. God's voice speaks to me all through the day, but if my mind isn't quiet, I will never hear. Then it tells us we're going to have 3 practice periods, each lasting 3 to 5 minutes, but longer if possible. If there's no sense of rush, there's no sense of being uneasy, then we'll try to stay into this meditative state longer. The form of practice we will use today is the most natural and easy one in the world for the trained mind, just as it seems to be the most unnatural and difficult for the untrained mind. Now here comes a good news flash. Your mind is no longer completely, wholly untrained, which I've been saying now in the past few days. We are certainly not where we will be, but we certainly aren't where we started with lesson number 1 in the introduction. We're quite ready to learn this form of exercise that we'll use today, but we might have some strong resistance. And the reason for the strong resistance is simple, that when we practice in this way, we leave behind everything that we now believe, everything we've ever been taught up until this moment, that we have listened to the ego and thought and believed it to be real, and all the thoughts we have made up. Properly speaking, this is the release from hell. Now we're going to substitute in there the word guilt, because lesson 39, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? Well, the opposite of guilt is salvation, our holiness. It's our release from hell. Yet perceived through the ego's eyes, it's a loss of identity. And that's a small I, but it's still, and then the ego believes it's a descent into hell, because the ego is terrified of losing the bit of identity, again, small I, that it believes it has claimed and is what it is. Nothing is more threatening than to realize there's a different you, there's another you, and we'll hold on to the old one until we can no longer, because it's the one we know. If you can stand aside from the ego by ever so little, you will have no difficulty in recognizing that its opposition and its fears are meaningless, because my meaningless thoughts have been showing me a meaningless world. But you'll find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach the light is indeed to escape the darkness, whatever you may believe to the contrary. God is the light in which you see, and we are attempting to reach him. Now, from paragraph 7 on, this is really how we are practicing, and it's a beautiful tutorial, let's say, of the meditation practice for us to do. So begin the practice periods by repeating the idea for today, which we do all the time. Slowly repeating the idea several more times, then try to sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past them. If a thought comes up, we simply let it go. We pay no attention to it, because what we pay attention to, we will make bigger and bigger. Your mind cannot be stopped unless you choose to stop it. Again, this is the power that we have, the power of our thoughts, but we have strength from God. So we will only stop this practice if we allow God to be moved aside and we go back into our ego thoughts. Unless you choose to stop it. It's merely taking its natural course. Our mind is going where it is meant to go. It's going into this space of peace and quiet. It's going into stillness. This is where our mind wants to be. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly by them. Let them go. Yes, philosophy of Frozen for meditation. Let all those other thoughts go. While no particular approach is advocated for this form of exercise, what is needful is a sense of the importance of what you are doing. This is very important. This practicing is important. It is inestimable, I don't know if I pronounced that right, value to you, to all of us, and an awareness that you are attempting something very holy. Salvation is your happiest accomplishment. Your freedom is your happiest accomplishment, and it's also the only one that has any meaning, because it's the only one that has any real use. So if resistance arises in any form, pause long enough to repeat today's idea, keeping your eyes closed unless you're aware of being afraid. If fear enters in, then in that case, open your eyes. I'm going to say take a deep breath. It doesn't say that. And then try to return. Say the idea for today that, God is the light in which I see. And then to go back, close your eyes, go back into it. If you're doing the exercises correctly, you should experience some sense of relaxation and even a feeling that you are approaching, if not actually entering, the light. Try to think of light, formless and without limit. There's no form to God. There's no form to spirit, but it is limitless. And as you pass by the thoughts of this world, and do not forget that they cannot hold you, nothing can hold us to this world unless we give it the power to do so. Unless we give the ego the power to hold us to this world, we are free. And then throughout the day, repeat the idea often that God is the light in which I see. And then it says, do not forget, be determined not to forget. This is a beautiful description and tutorial for us of how to practice this lesson, and it will be the same form that we will use over and over again. But what I like about it especially is that it's aware that we will possibly, very likely, have resistance, but to simply let it go, realize the importance of this idea, this practicing, this meditation. And that's it for today. I hope it helped. I hope it made perfect sense. Let there be light, and let me know that I am the light. That's a little thing I had written on a piece of paper here. And so like, smile, comment, subscribe. Not sure what I forgot. Taking a deep breath, release everything. Share it, please. And just like try to go into that quiet space. You can call it meditation, you can call it prayer if you want, and to know that the light is who you are, and you are ready to reach it now. Namaste.